2024 first hunting bow review, Bear Persist. Let's check it out. Hello and welcome back to the YouTube channel. MFJJ here at podiumarcher.com, and we're going to do this a little differently this year to let us know if you like it or whatnot. So first off, this is our Bear Persist for 2024, and we're going to go over that in a minute, but we're going to walk over here and I'm going to show you how we're going to actually graph all this stuff for you. So follow me a sec. All right, so here is our new bow ranking board. We have lots of information here. We got the price, vibration, draw cycle, grip, back wall, balance, features, tunability, speed, weight, ATA, brace height, actual draw length, and how much measured reflex. In this column, we're going to call these an opinion, okay? So this is my subjectives. So this isn't going into the score, just so you know, just expressing my opinion to you. These are tangible, measurable things. These two you can probably say are a little bit of opinion. We got to give some rank for features and tunability that matter, but all these other categories are kind of personal opinion, subjective things anyway, so we're not going to keep those for score, but we are going to keep these for score. And then over here, we're going to have speeds average on 3 different weights arrows, 350, 450, and 550, so you can get a comparable at each individual weight. Max score possible is a 40. And that is just this category, just those things. So let's go measure it up and we'll show you how we're coming up with this. All right, the Persist has 2 different weight limb options. It has a 45 to 60 and a 55 to 70. It has a 26 to 30 inch draw length. It is a 75, 80, 85, or 90% let off. For the sake of the test, we have tried different let offs and it doesn't change it significantly at all, like 2 feet or 1 feet, so we're not measuring multiple let-offs anymore. We're going to try to measure everything at like an 85% let-off because most things come in that way. That's the speed we're going to have to test it at. If you want to test it at a different speed, you need to try it yourself. But that's what we're giving it. This bow, we're going to measure its reflex, its axle to axle, its brace height, and its weight. Over here, we're going to point out some of the new features. They did modify the EKO cam a little bit. They did change the string stop a little bit. This is very similar to last year's bow, even though it does come in at a 31 inch axle to axle with a 6.5 inch brace height. They did add integration on the rest here, so you can do a rear mount, and they did add a front Picatinny mount to this bow. They also integrated a wrist strap, which I played with, and it was hard to get it to move until these little shrink tube things that were on the end of here came off, but once I took those off, it was actually pretty easy to adjust. They did add a little doily up here for hanging your bow in a tree stand and, you know, looping a rope through it, so there's an easy place to attach to. Just comes on the bow. If you don't like it, take it off. And I believe these are new this year, these little vibration dampeners. Could be wrong, they might have had that last year. But other than that, features are relatively the same. Standard spacer shim adjustment system and a cable guard adjustment for trying to get some tunability features. So let's measure some stuff. Axle to axle, I might as well use this thing, it's simple enough, is going to dead center to dead center. It's measuring 31 and an eighth, I would say. Yeah, 31 and an eighth. 31 and 1/8. Brace height, just the way I've got this in here might be a little tricky. Let's see if I can get all the way down there. Yeah. So it's spot on at 6.5. You can see that there. 6.5. Yep. Okay, so give that 6.5. Now, I texted the rep to try to get what, this bow isn't out yet, so I don't have the physical weight measurement of what it's supposed to be. I'll still weigh it, and then we're gonna subtract the weight of that and the weight of that off of it. This is on here for a new little device that we'll show you in a little bit here. The reflex measurement, which I need my measuring tape for. Let's see here. Measures out about 1.5 inches of reflex. So I can't tell you what it's supposed to weigh. I can only tell you what it's weighing in front of us, so I can't tell you comparable from what they say. But by the time this comes out, it should be published. Oh, we don't advertise one. I can find out if we do. So currently they don't have an advertised weight of this bow. So if they publish it later, you can compare it against the number that we came up with. So physical weight. This is weighing out at 5.4, but that's got that and this and the dampeners that you could take off. So it's probably 5 pounds, maybe a tiny bit under. We'll weigh these after to figure out what they are and subtract it from the total so it's an accurate number. But that was 5.4. All right, so we're going to transfer these over to here and then do some shooting. All right, so what we're measuring here is AMO draw length. Now, an AMO draw length, how they measure that is it's supposed to be 1 3/4 in front of the pivot point in the grip, which is supposed to line up with the bolt hole. And on this bow, it does. So we can use that little reference hole right there for what the center of the bolt hole is supposed to be. And from here, 1 3/4 forward is supposed to be AMO. Now, I went ahead and cheated and cut this measuring arrow off 1 3/4 so it measures exactly what it should be. So wherever this line measures up with that hole is how long a draw length you're actually pulling. This bow is set at 30 inches. Let's see what it comes up with. So if we get down here and line it up with that bolt hole in a straight line, it's right dead center in 30.5. So this measurement shows this bow measures a 1/2 inch longer than they are saying it is. So check it out for yourself and see what you find. Okay, so these are my first 3 shots out of this bow. And then we're going to try our little vibration device here. These are our traditional 350 grain arrows that we're always using. So there's a little hump into the back end. It's a little stiff in the front, but not terrible by any means. Vibration's real minimal, but I would expect for how heavy it is that it would be, because it's real heavy for a 31-inch axle-to-axle bow physically. But it's actually pretty smooth. There's not like a big hump or anything in the back end. It falls into the pocket pretty well. Mind you, this is on the 85%. It might feel different than the other ones. Dissipation's real fast. Like, I'll give the vibration real high marks, but that's going to tell us what it is anyhow. It feels real nice. We'll pull those arrows out. Okay, so this is our measuring device here, and it has a 1032 thread, so I found a target site, just random, no reason it's this particular one, that has a 1032 in the side of it, so this should be able to functionally measure for us how much vibration this bow has, so it's not subjective. I'm going to put it into 1. Tighten her down. Is that touching there? Yes, it is. We're going to have to leave that out a little bit. We can't have that touching. I'll put it on 5. Should be in the middle. All right. And you can see that readout, giving you a number as it goes. So I want to turn that a little bit better that way. Okay. So I don't know. It's our first time using this, so bear with me. Okay, we'll see if this part works. Lock down. Everything's tight on here. Okay. We got enough cable room here. That's the old number. So I wonder how you clear it. Number 2, first one was 1813.
We're recording, all as well.
I said 1278.
It did.
I think that was the old number, wasn't it? I know the first one was 1813.
Yeah, so that was 1278.
That's a pretty big difference. Okay. Remember 1278.
$12.69.
1661. So I'm not sure I believe that 1278 because I thought that was the original number. 16, what did I say, 1661? I want to do this again, one more. We can go at 1278 if it gives me a number anywhere near it, but I think that was like the number that was stored in there beforehand, and I don't know how to delete it off. Max, min, max. And this is in, what is it? Volume? I don't know. VEL. Interesting. I don't think it registered. Saying record, saying max. Or turn the record off and turn the record on. $18.02, so that I believe. All right, so that's our average. Okay, so this is 70 pounds, 350 grain arrow. 3 for an average. 335. $333. $335. So you get a 334 overall for that one. Okay. Okay, next set we have 450 grain arrows. That's 70 pounds, 30 inches. $297. $298. $298. So we'll give you an average of 298 then. Now we're going to shoot a 550 grain arrow at 70 pounds. 3 times, give you an average. $271. 271. $271. All right, so 271. All right, so the other things that we haven't brought down here. Draw cycle, it's really pretty good. I would probably give it a 4 out of 5. Grip, I do not care for at all. I'm sure some people really like it. It's got more of a rounded contour. It's hard to tell where my hand's on the bow, but it's not the worst grip I've ever felt, so I'll give it a 2. The back wall was pretty decent. Not like a rock, but pretty decent. I'll give it 3. Overall balance on the bow is pretty good. I'd give it a 4. Features. So it's got a pick mount front, pick mount rear, and some vibration dampeners, the wrist sling through there, and a hook. That's a lot of features that are not necessarily something they had to put on the bow. So I'd give them a 3. That's some good features. Nothing that's really super specific to them in the feature category other than a wrist strap through the riser, which I'm not super excited about that, but it's a nice little add. Tunability. So they're still using spacers to move the cam left and right, which is old technology across the board. Anybody who's still doing that just as a basic premise, I can't really call tunable, but they do have the cable guard that allows you to move it in and out and left and right, which will manipulate the wheel lean a little bit. So you can kind of tweak the tune somewhat, but you're still probably going to have to revert back to spacers to tune that bow in most instances if you're doing it yourself. So I'm going to give you a 2. Just because you're still trying to use spacers to move your cam left and right, and the cable guard doesn't do hardly anything in my experience when you try to tune it. It does a little, but not a lot. Let's see. Price, $12.49. I personally think that's a little bit high for what you're buying there, but it's not horrific. So I'll probably give you a 3 on price. You're not ridiculously high, but it's probably more than that bow should be, in my opinion. Speed. So 334 when it's a 340 published speed is really, really good, folks. But this is why we're measuring draw length. This bow is a 1/2 inch longer than they say it is, and a 1/2 inch of draw length will probably give you roughly 7 feet a second with a light arrow. So that means that bow really, if you actually set it at a true 30-inch draw length, comes out about 327. So I can't give you a really good rating for speed being 340 when you're measuring it too long. So I'm not going to give you a 1 is as low as I would give, because I wouldn't give a 0, but I'm going to give you a 2 on this measurement. And that's going to go over there. That's going to go over there. That's a 3. Sorry. Those are the comments that matter. Weight, 5.4 is heavy. Now, even with those things off it, it's still 5 pounds at least. That's really heavy for a 31-inch axle-to-axle bow, but I have seen heavier bows, so I'm not going to give you that. Actual draw length is a 1, because you're a 1/2 inch off, and I haven't measured something that's been a 1/2 inch off in quite a while. So sorry, you're getting a 1 there. Reflex geometry is decent. I'll give you a 3. I like to see a bow with less than 1 inch of reflex, but I see them all the way up to 2.5, so you're kind of in between where I'd prefer it to be and where it can exist at. So yeah, we had a 3 here, and vibration, 17.5. We have no idea how good or bad of a number that is, because that's the first bow we tested, but I think that's a pretty high number. I'm willing to bet there's stuff that has less vibration from what I've felt, but it's really good. So we're going to give you a 4 on that. All right, so tunability, speed. I mean, it's a 6. I got to give you a little bit better. No, I can't, because you're lying. This is tough. 340 for a bow that's got a 6.5 brace height's pretty fast of a rating. I reserve the right, by the way, to go back and change these as all the other bow numbers come out and manipulate it a little bit, but I'm going to leave that at a 2. So we've got a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 20. So you're getting a 20 out of 40 on that. And then draw cycle, my subjectives, because that's not a subjective. Sorry, it's the first time doing this. We'll get it cleaned up here. 3, 4, 5, or 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 23, 23. So those aren't my subjectives. 23. Those are over here. So those shouldn't be here. So I should be a 23 out of 35. So that's 35 possible. We'll give you a 23. So that's the high score and that's the MFO score. You can figure out what that means. So comment down below on what you think about these videos and how we've changed them and what we've added and what we should have done and how stupid we are for not measuring this or checking this or how biased I am or whatever you want to say. I really don't care. It doesn't bother me any. But we're trying to give you more information and trying to make it a little more in-depth and still getting it to you in a quick period of time to help make a decision. We are going to put a page on our website that shows the scores and all this statistical information of every bow as we go throughout the year, so you can go to that and refer to it and reference it against others. And we'll see how these numbers of vibration hold up compared to others, since that's a new thing we've measured. And that's literally the first time we used it, which if you're watching it, you can tell it's probably the first time we've used it. So yeah, follow along on Instagram. We will be doing bow giveaways again this year, and we are giving those bows away as we speak. So keep following along. Thanks for watching.